الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأهل بيته وأزواجه وذرياته وصحبه وبارك وسلم أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I pray that you all are doing well, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from the calamity which is spreading around the world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant healing to those who are suffering from this disease. Inshallah, we are going to continue our Seerah series, which we have been doing in our nightly Khatiras every night after Isha, from Sunday all the way to Friday. We are going to live stream. We will try to live stream every night, inshallah, so you can get benefits from your home and you can watch with your families too. So far, we have covered in our Seerah all the way to the migration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also more details of the establishment of the brotherhood between Aus wal Khazraj, and the treaty between the Prophet ﷺ made in between Aus wal Khazraj, between the Muhajirun and Ansar especially. We have mentioned all of those details. After the establishment of the brotherhood and the instructions of the Prophet ﷺ for the healthy society and healthy community, then Prophet ﷺ headed towards the Jews living in the suburbs of Madina Munawwara, in the outskirts of Madina. And as you all know that the three major tribes were living in Medina. Two were out of city and one was inside the city. Banu Qaynuqa was the one living inside the city, and Banu Nadir and Banu Qurayza were living in the outskirts of Medina Munawwara. There was another tribe also, Banu Auf. Originally they were Arabs. The three major tribes I've mentioned, they are non-Arabs. They were non-Arabs. They came from the lands of Romans, but when they came and they settled in Yathrib at that time, before the migration, Medina was called, they were totally affected by the culture and they became sort of an Arab. They adopted the culture and they became fluent in Arabic speaking, and in their clothing, in their second generation, they all became sort of Arabs. But this Arab Banu Auf, they were living in the Tayma, which was the land of Jews, and one of the conditions for them to live in that land was to follow the Judaism. So they started following Judaism, and then they came back to Yathrib, Medina, but they remained on Judaism. So this tribe were Banu Auf. They were originally Arabs, Jews. This treaty the Prophet ﷺ made between Jews and Muslims was with Banu Auf, the Arab Jews, the actual Arab Jews. And the most important provisions of the treaty are the following. Though the treaty was for all the Jews, for other tribes also, Banu Qurayza and Nadir and Banu Qaynuqa, but the one who were present at that time were Banu Auf, but it applied for everyone. So the most important provisions of the treaty are the following here. Number one, the Jews of Banu Auf are one community with the believers. The Jews will profess their religion and the Muslims theirs. So the Prophet ﷺ, number one, he told them that the Jews and Muslims will be one community, and Jews will follow their religion and Muslims will follow their religion. Again, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Kafirun, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. Your religion is for you and our religion is for me. And that shows us the tolerance the Prophet ﷺ had for other religions living in Medina. We also have similar narration. Imam Bayhaqi has narrated in Shu'ab al-Iman that after a while a group of people from Habasha, from Ethiopia, came to the Prophet ﷺ. Rasulullah ﷺ told the Sahaba that they are my guests, and he hosted them inside Masjid al-Nabawi. They lived in Madina, in Masjid al-Nabawi, and when the prayer time came, Rasulullah ﷺ allowed them to pray in their way. Again, it shows us the tolerance the Prophet ﷺ had towards the other religion and the welcoming. The Jews shall be responsible for their expenditure and the Muslims for theirs. Number 3, if attacked by a third party, the Madina, if it's attacked by the third party, each shall come to the help of the other. Number 4, each party shall hold counsel with the other. Mutual relations shall be founded on righteousness. Sin is totally excluded. So whatever the relationship the Prophet is establishing between Jews and Muslims is totally, purely based on righteousness. And number 5, the Prophet said, neither shall commit sins to the prejudice of the other. Number 6, the wronged, the madlum, the one who's oppressed, shall be aided. So no matter whether he's a Jew or Christian or Muslim, as long as if they are part of the treaty, or anyone living in Medina, if it's wronged, if he's oppressed by someone, he shall be aided. Number 7, the Jews shall contribute to the cost of war so long as they are fighting alongside the believers. And look at this, is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet ﷺ, as a community leader, when he's working with the other faith, with the other communities, while he's giving them facilities, while he's giving them some facilities and some sort of protection, and establishing this wonderful community, he also is asking them in return some favor. And likewise, similarly, when we are working with the other organization, whether we're working within Muslim community or with other communities. So if you are asked for some favors, then you are totally it's permissible for you to ask some favors in return from other parties also. So here Rasulullah is asking them, since he is giving them protection and they are part of the community, and in Medina, the Jews shall contribute to the cost of war so long as they are fighting alongside the believers. And number 8, Medina shall remain sacred and inviolable for all that join this treaty. So Rasulullah is requesting to establish peace in Medina all the time. Make sure, do not involve yourself in any sort of conversation which is leading against the peace, which is causing violence in the society or community. Number 9, should any disagreement arise between the signatories to this treaty, then Allah, the All-High, and His Messenger shall settle the dispute. Again, if you have any sort of disagreement regarding this treaty, no one should discuss in each other. No one should defame one another. They always have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 11, each shall contribute to defending Medina in case of a foreign attack in its respective area. Number 12, this treaty shall not hinder either party from seeking lawful revenge. Subhanallah. When it comes to establishing justice, the Prophet ﷺ was extremely just. And that's one of the reasons of the Prophets coming into this world, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. The purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending the Prophets into this world is to establish justice. And that's one of the last conditions the Prophet ﷺ has included in that treaty. And so the justice is, if you want to mention deen, if you want to describe deen in one word, that one word would be al-adl, which is justice. So justice, you don't really have to look at the faith or the religion of others. No matter which religion the other person follows, he shall be treated justly. Medina and its suburbs, after the endorsement of this treaty, turned into a coalition state with Medina proper as capital and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as president. Authority lay mainly in the hand of Muslims, and consequently it was a real capital of Islam. To expand the zone of peace and security, the Prophet ﷺ started to enter into similar treaties with other tribes living around this state. So Medina, from then it became a capital state, or Medina became Darul Islam. Therefore, if you remember, we have mentioned in a couple of our khatiras before, amongst the names of Medina. So previously it was called Yathrib, and later on it was called Madinatul Munawwara. So when the Prophet ﷺ entered, as the hadith Sahih says, that when Rasulullah ﷺ entered Medina, everything in Medina started brightening, shining, illuminating with the nur of Nubuwwah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, it is called Madina Munawwara. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam insisted others to stop calling from Yathrib. And also amongst the name of Medina is Taiba or Taiba or Taba, and also it was called Darul Islam and Darul Iman. With that, we conclude today, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fill our hearts with the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to follow the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what we have heard, what we have said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to implement them in our societies, in our communities. وصلى الله تعالى وسلم على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأهل بيته وأزواجه وذرياته وصحبه وبارك وسلم أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, we'll continue from there tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.